Oh, that kind of music makes me feel like I'm on a beach, but I'm not. I'm in the studio in Brixton. Oh, the harsh realities. If you just logged in, it's Jourds on Reprezent Radio, keeping you company until 11 o'clock this morning. And if you just logged in, you've logged in at an amazing time because I'm joined by my guest of this morning, Kyron Hamilton. How are you doing?
I'm feeling great. The sun is shining and it's amazing. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. I mean, I'm in between great and could be better, only because yesterday it was 26 degrees, and because it's 16, it's a bit of a jump.
I know.
So I'm kind of trying to adjust.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Watch it next week be like 7 degrees.
I know, and then we'll really be complaining.
Yeah.
You've been doing absolute bits on TikTok. 1.2 million followers, 56.1 million likes on your page.
It's madness.
That is obscene. I mean, when did you first start to see yourself really growing on that platform?
It was all in lockdown, to be fair, and I never really understood until I came out of lockdown, and then people were like, oh my god, you're that guy. I'm like, what? You know my face, this double chin, you know who this is. It was so weird. I don't know, I feel like, around when I came out of lockdown, because before, to me, it was just like a number on the screen. It didn't really correlate, do you know what I mean? So probably when came out of lockdown, it's
And
mad.
what inspired you to go on it? Because you've got a background in the arts, so you studied drama.
Yeah,
did you go to musical theatre?
Yeah.
You went to Jourds,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
How was that experience like?
It was mental, you know, because I've always like dreamt of being in drama school. When you're there, you're like, oh wow, and then you know I always get comfortable with what I'm doing, and I like want the next thing up. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it was a really good experience, to be fair. But how I got into TikTok and stuff, I was in my third year at Jourds, and then lockdown cut third year short. It was only like 2 months, so it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
And I was just so bored. I was at home like, what do I do? I wanted to be creative. And then I just made some random videos, mostly just to make my nan and granddad laugh. Aww. And then just spiraled out of control, and I just kept it up ever since, to be fair.
That's incredible, because I was speaking to Maddie a couple of weeks ago. Exactly the same kind of story. Studying musical theatre, and then when lockdown happened, it was kind of just like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? And then reached a TikTok, and the rest has been history.
Yeah.
And you've been written about in like Forbes, honestly, The Guardian. Gosh,
it's mental.
Do you get like pinch me moments of like the amount of recognition that you get?
Yeah, and I feel like, I don't know, I get invited to so many things that I never in my life thought I'd go to. Like, I went to the BAFTAs recently, and for me, like a red carpet I never thought that would happen. So them kind of moments for me are like, wow. And
what was your experience like in musical theatre school? Because I feel like I went to musical theatre school as well, and my experience was very wishy-washy. But how was it like for you? And how was it like for you being mixed race? Because there aren't a lot of black kids in musical theatre and stage school as a whole.
I mean, there was a lot of diversity at Jourds, that's one thing they're very good at, but some of the teachers are very backwards.
Really?
Yeah, and they don't realise what they're saying and the things they say sometimes. But obviously when you're in drama school, you think these teachers, they can like cut you off, they can make you not work if you speak up. So that's what you think in your head, because everyone's like, it's so cliquey. It's like you're in a bubble, and like if you're a teacher's favourite, everyone thinks, oh my god, you're going to work, you're going to be this, you're going to be that.
And you're going to be a star.
Yeah, and if you're not the favourite, then it's like, well, you can go to the back. So I was just kind of like a class clown, laughing at everything, not taking it too seriously, just enjoying myself. So for me, it was all right. But yeah, for some other people, it wasn't that great. So comedy, would you say that it's always been a part of your life? Yeah, I always make every situation that happens, I always laugh at it, or try and make people laugh to make themselves feel better. Because if you can't laugh at anything, it just feel like it's just so boring. Laughter for me is just a way to get through the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And with musical theatre, I mean, is it still something that you are really, passionate about? Would it be something that you go back to, or are you kind of like mainly focusing on what it is that you're doing now? Because you're literally moving at the speed of light. Like the views that you get on your videos, and just how accurate it is as well, and which we'll go into in a bit. Like, what's your thoughts on that? Do you reckon you will go back?
For now, no. I love watching musicals and stuff. That for me, any day I'd watch a musical. In the current moment, I want to go more into acting.
Right, okay.
But I definitely will go back to musical theatre, maybe in a few years or something, just when, well, hopefully this don't die down, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it won't. Don't say that.
But yeah.
Observational comedy is something that you're very, very, very good at. I'm guessing this is just through kind of experiences of being in school and being in stage school as well. How do you even think about what to do next? Because I was reading some of your articles about having like creators block and stuff, and people commenting on creators as a whole and it not really being like a job and kind of being like throwaway sort of thing, and you kind of answer back to that. But I mean, first of all, how do you deal with creative block? Does it happen? And second of all, in a separate question, what do you say for people that try and make out as if content creating is just a whatever sort of job?
To come up with ideas, I just love to improv. So I would think about maybe teacher's breath, right? And then I'll put the camera on,
and that stanks.
Yeah,
it stanks.
Nasty.
It's nasty.
But yeah, I improv and do some random stuff, and I'll end up with like 4 video ideas. So then that's a way for me to get ideas. And also sometimes I just watch my old videos and think, wait, that tiny little look that I done, I can create that into a whole new video.
Wow.
And I don't know how it happens, because sometimes I'm like, look, I have nothing. I ran out of teacher ideas about a year ago.
Yeah,
like,
really?
Literally a year
ago.
But somehow every time I put the camera on, I just think of one more idea and one more idea, one more idea, one more idea. It just.
So it literally is improv. So you don't think of a script. You don't think of.
Never.
You just put the camera on and that's it.
Yeah. For like paid ads and stuff, I will write more of a script, because they sometimes need to approve it and stuff. So, but then I go off script anyway, because I don't do well with a script, because then it just feels forced. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if I do an idea and it's not going right, if I do it over maybe 6-7 times, I'll stop and do it another day, because otherwise it's just too. Let me do this now. Let me do that now. And I feel like with the comedy I do, the random things that like push it to the extreme are the funniest things, and the things that no one expects, and everyone's like, oh, how are you going to put so many things on a lanyard? For me, that was just a random thing. I was like, let me just put a shoe on it. Then next week, I was like, let me just shove a suitcase on it. Do you know what I mean?
So creative.
Yeah, it's mental.
Yeah, and it's nuts as well, just how accurate it is, whether it is doing the teacher roles or doing the mum roles. Everyone can relate to it, to some aspect. And I think that's one of the reasons why, you know, you do so well, because it's all relatable. And then hearing at the same time that this is all off the cuff. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like one of them people, you know, when you have them random moods. And you know, like when dogs get the zoomies, they run around the house and do that. I'm like that person. Yeah. So as soon as that happens, I'm just like, right, let me just film something, and then something comes out. Yeah, and then you just whack it on TikTok, rack up the views.
Yeah.
Gonna go for a little break, and then we're gonna come back for part 2. There's something about singing in another language that I'm just drawn to. Right. I love a bit of another language song. Just logged in, it's Jourds on Reprezent Radio, joined by my guest of this morning, Kyron Hamilton. How are you doing?
Very, very well. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you for asking. First time on radio.
Yes.
How does it feel?
It feels like home.
I'm glad to hear that. We like to make sure that our guests feel welcome. That's important.
It just feels right.
Great. Talk to me about the struggles, if any, of staying on top of the content. I'm always getting in TikTok stars, and always, you know, finding out the inside as to how much they're filming on a weekly basis, and especially when you've got such a large following, you know, 1.2 million. Where do you even begin with, you know, content creation? How much you should be putting out? How little? Where does that begin for you?
So I think before, like when I lived in my last place, maybe about 8 months ago, I was so on it. Like, I need to post this much, this amount, I need to film this much. Then I just started to not like it as much.
Really?
So now I honestly just do it when I want to do it. I keep in mind not to go like 2 weeks without filming, because otherwise it's a bit like, well, come on now.
Where's he gone?
Yeah. But yeah, I sometimes do like 4 videos at one time. Sometimes a video can take me 5 minutes, sometimes it can take me like 45 minutes.
Right.
So yeah, depending on how quick a video takes me, I can do it in bulk, and then I'll just post every 2 or 3 days.
Okay.
So it gives me like some just time to rest, I suppose.
Yeah, because there's some that literally post like twice a day.
I don't know how
One's
to do
at like 10 a.m, one's at like...
Especially people that do like comedy and like skits. I don't know how they do like 2 a day, 1 a day. So your ideas are going to run out.
Yeah, you literally structure yours by filming a number in a day, and then just over the course of the week, just like keep dropping little...
Yeah, or sometimes I'll just do one, and then like in 2-3 days I'll do another one, and then I don't like to put a pressure on myself anymore, otherwise I won't like it. Does that make sense?
Numbers thing is something that I always find interesting as well, because we can get really fixated on numbers, especially in our generation in society, we're constantly searching for, you know, the next milestone to reach. You know, whether it's 500k, a million, whether it's, you know, 10k views or whatever. Have you ever found yourself in that hole of like constantly wanting to make sure that this video gets this, and if not, I'm dragging it down? Or, you know, how do you deal with the numbers game and not letting it consume you? Because I feel like it can be very overwhelming being in that kind of mental space. But what is it for somebody like yourself that gets, you know, crazy amount of views and a crazy amount of, you know, attraction on your page?
To start with, because it was all so new to me, and I never had followers, never done anything like this, so I was very caught up in, I need this, I want to get that, people around me getting this, why am I not? And then again, I just you fall out of love with it, and now most of the videos that I love, and my favourite ones, they do awful, like, but I just keep them up because they're like my favourite ones.
Really?
But I suppose where they're my favourite ones and not necessarily the audience's favourite ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, I used to get caught up with it, but not anymore. I just feel like if you're doing what you like and you enjoy it, other people are going to enjoy it with you. But my mum, she loves it. She always face like, wow, that TikTok's so good, guy. 1 million. I'm like, yeah, I know, Mum.
So you literally just put it to the back of your mind, and you're just like, do you know what? Like, if I enjoy it and I like it, then that's all that matters.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. There are some times where I'm like, ugh, I really wanted that one to do well. But then if you dwell on it, it's just, recipe for disaster.
Well, this is the thing, because you can get so fixated on, and I suppose especially when one video does really, really well, it's kind of just like, I want the next one to do really well. And if it doesn't, do I take it down? Do I do this or that or the other? And you can get caught up in those kind of like thought processes. And I feel like I've been there myself as well. And even when it comes to being stagnant and not growing as much as you want to, I mean, what would you say for somebody who feels a little bit like stuck in a rut when it comes to, you know, TikTok growth or just growth, overall growth on like social media and stuff?
Well, especially on TikTok, you can post a video and then in 8 months, all of a sudden it goes boom and it's viral. TikTok is so random with that algorithm, which is kind of good because it pushes out small creators, doesn't leave anyone to not have a chance to be seen. So just honestly, just do what you do, and as long as you enjoy it, as long as you're not doing anything that's offensive or anything like that, just do something that you enjoy, that you love. Other people just find your page and love it. There's some people that I follow that don't even know how many followers they got, and they're huge. There's this woman called Karen, what's her last name? Karen. Oh, she's actually one of my favourite people. Can't remember it.
On TikTok.
Yeah, she's in America. She has no idea what she's doing, but she has like nearly 800k followers, and she's just iconic. She's like a walking meme. Yeah, she actually is.
I think it's believing in yourself, isn't it? And trying to bypass numbers, bypass what everybody else thinks, and just keep at it. It's just the consistency.
It is, yeah. Especially when you're starting off.
Yeah. How do you deal with, I mean, we touched upon it earlier on in the conversation, but how do you personally deal with creators block, and how do you come around it? Is there anything that you do in particular, or do you just give it a day or so and then you're back in?
Yeah, because sometimes I get frustrated when I can't think of things. So I'll let myself rest. I do go away and watch comedy shows.
Really?
Like This Country for me always sparks something. Catherine Tate, Stuff Let's Flats, loads of like programs like that. They're the humour that I kind of base my stuff around. Yeah. So watching them does spark ideas, or like just make me in the creative mood, and I'll just put down a little bullet point, go and improvise around it and see what comes out. Yeah.
Like, honestly, like just finding out that you improv everything has just blown my mind, because so much on TikTok is scripted and calculated, and not to say that that's a bad thing, but I can really notice that. Yeah. And the fact that yours is just organic just adds like that extra to what it is that you do. And it's very talented as well of you. Yeah, you have to be proud of yourself. Yeah. You gotta be proud of yourself.
No, I am. I think sometimes though you just forget how far you've actually come, because it just becomes normal now. But yeah, when I look back and just think, wow, it's mental.
It's crazy. Mental. How do you stay focused?
Good question. I don't know if I do.
As owns.
I really don't know if I do. I honestly just do whatever happens, just happens. And yeah, I try and set myself, when I try and set myself days as well to film, it just doesn't happen. Like I was supposed to do something yesterday, but then I was just sat on the sofa watching Netflix all day. Like it just,
enjoying the sun.
Yeah. So yeah, I kind of don't stay focused, but I do in the same way. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, we all go through days like that, and I think it's just getting around it, and then tomorrow is a new day. Yeah. And I'll try and do what I aimed to do yesterday.
Yeah. When I have a routine as well, when my routine goes out the window, it's disastrous.
But it's just allowing yourself that flexibility and that freedom, and not being too harsh on yourself.
Very true.
It happens to us all. It happens to Kyron too. Yes. We're going to be doing it's scripted.
Fine. Just this one time.
Yeah, fun time. Done this with Victor Kunda a couple of weeks ago, and it went off. It was the Kat Slater and Zoe Slater, You Ain't My Mother. I've got the wigs in my bag. We're going to be doing it. Are you excited for this?
I can't wait.
I'm going to play a track, and we're going to get into it in a bit. Here is a little bit of Nines and NSG with Airplay Modes. If you just logged in, it's Jourds on Reprezent Radio. That was NSG Nines with Airplane Mode, and it was also how quick can we put the wigs on during that time frame, because it has come to the part of the show where we are going to be doing some role play, some acting. We've got the scripts in front of us. Now, if you've been around for as long as I have, or maybe just an absolute soap fan, you'll be familiar with the EastEnders scene of Zoe and Kat in the restaurant. I'll title it You Ain't My Mother. Yes. So you should be familiar with it. Me and Kyron, who is my guest of this morning, we're going to be doing just that. Are you excited? We've got the wigs on.
The wig. I feel like Kat Slater already.
You feel like Kat already?
I'm in character.
I'm ready for this one. And also the bit at the end, I had to write that bit in. Yeah, you got that one.
The iconic line.
The iconic. Yeah. I don't know why it was missing from the script. Just got to add that one in there. So here we go. We're going to take it away with the EastEnders theme tune, going to some ambience restaurant, and you'll hear us acting. It's Jourds and Kyron on Reprezent Radio. Everyone, I've got an announcement to make.
Don't be soft. You're 18. What could you have to say?
Uncle Harry's asked me to work in his pub in Spain, and I said yes. I'm leaving Walford.
Yeah? Well, let's go ask him then, shall we? See what he says. Look, just shut up and sit down, Zoe.
No! You're always doing this to me, and I ain't having it. What's it got to do with you anyway?
It's got everything to do with me.
Fine, I'll go and ask Dad now then, shall I? No, I'm fed up of you picking on me all the time, embarrassing me in front of everyone.
Will you just listen to me?
No, I'm going, and there's nothing you can do about it. Why don't you just leave me alone?
You're not going to Spain, and that's that.
I have to do everything you say now, do I? You can't tell me what to do. You ain't my mother.
Yes, I am!
There is honestly no greater scene on a soap than that scene right there. Thank you for joining me for that epic moment. Talking about acting, just before we wrap this interview up, the future is bright for you. You say that you want to kind of like go into doing acting. Are you thinking films? Are you thinking TV series?
Definitely a comedy TV series would be the absolute dream. I'm just seeing myself in the back of the monitor this week.
And can you see it? Blue is literally getting all the shots right now. And if you want to check out the visuals, we will be posting this on the socials at @Jourds_@Reprezent Radio. Make sure that you're following us on there. It's been an absolute pleasure having you in this. I can't take us seriously. I really can't. I'm looking at us like, is this what we're doing on a Wednesday morning now? But it is. Thank you so much. If anybody wants to follow you on socials, where can they reach you?
On Instagram is @Kyron.Hamilton, and on TikTok it's @Kyron Hamilton.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Can't wait to see more from you.
You too.
See you soon.
See you later.